Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are group 14 will explain about cross-cultural dimension, indulgent versus restraint. For my team, it was me and Nur Hafiza. So I will tell you about the definition of indulgent versus restraint. What is definition of indulgence versus restraint? This dimension refers to the degree of freedom that societal norms give to citizens in fulfilling their human desires. Indulgence is defined as a society that allows relatively free gratification of basic and natural human desire related to enjoying life and having fun. Its counterpart is defined as a society that controls gratification of needs and regulates it by means of strict social norms. So I will tell you the example of the country that has indulgence. The US is an indulgent society with relatively high score of 68 on this dimension. In contrast to indulgent societies, restrained societies do not put much emphasis on leisure time and control the gratification of their desire. People with this orientation have the perception that their actions are restrained by social norms and feel that indulging themselves is somewhat wrong based on cultural research. Based on cultural research assumption, this could be attributed to the liberty of individuals and wealth of the country. Drug addiction is very high in the United States. Compared to the other wealthy countries, below is the graph that shows detailed score of each cultural dimension studied by Hofstede. So, what is the important about indulgent society versus restrained society? So, here's are the two different about the United States and Russia. Indulgent society in United States has higher percentage of happy people. In Russia, they have lower percentage of happy people. In the United States, a perception of personal life control, and in Russia, a perception of helplessness. What happens to me is not my own business. In United States, high importance of leisure and high importance of having friends. But in Russia, low importance of leisure and low importance of having friends. In the United States, they have less moral discipline. But in Russia, they have moral discipline. In United States, loosely prescribed gender role, and Russia strictly prescribed gender roles. United States smiling as a norm and freedom of speech is important. But in Russia, smiling as a suspect. The difference between indulgence versus restraint about the country. This is the difference, the more difference about indulgence and restraint countries. Higher percentage of people declaring themselves very happy, and restrained, fewer very happy people. In indulgence, a perception of personal life control. In restraint, a perception of helplessness that what happens to me is not my own doing. In indulgence, freedom speech is seen as important. In restraint, freedom of speech is not a primary concern. In indulgence, higher importance of leisure. On restraint, lower importance of leisure. In indulgence, more likely to remember positive emotion, but in restraint, they have less likely to remember positive emotion. In indulgence, countries with educated population higher birth rates, but in the restraint, country with educated population lowered birth rates. In indulgence, more people active involved in sport, but in the restraint, fewer people actively involved in sport. In indulgence, in country with enough food, higher percentage of obsessed people. In restraint, in countries with enough food, fewer obsessed people. In indulgence, in wealthy country, lenient sexual norms, but in restraint, in wealthy countries, stricter sexual norms. Indulgence maintaining order in the nation is not given as a high priority. In the restraint, a higher number of police officers per 100,000 of population. And now I will give to Nur Hafiza about the next slide. So Nur Hafiza.
Thank you for opportunity that has been given, and I will continue the material for my team. How is a society's degree of indulgence versus restraint measured? 1. There is no absolute standard for the degree of indulgence versus restraint. 2. What we can measure is difference between societies. 3. The position of societies relative to each other is expressed in an indulgence versus restraint index score (IVR). 4. IVR values have been plotted on a scale from 0 to 100. Scores close to 0 stand for a more restrained. Scores close to 100 for a more indulgent society. Some indulgent versus restrained IVR scores. Out of 93 indulgent, 97 Mexico, 80 for Nigeria, 78 Sweden, 71 Australia, 69 Britain, 68 Netherlands, 68 USA, 59 Brazil. Restraint 48 French, 42 Japan, 40 German, 30 Italy, 26 India, 24 China, 20 Russia, and 4 Egypt. Don't the IVR scores change over time? 1. The scores reflect values transferred from parents to children that rarely change in later life. 2. Research by George Beugelsich Comparing answers to the same question by two successive generations 30 years apart shows a modest worldwide shift towards more indulgence. 3. However, the position of countries relative to each other remained the same, and this is what the scores are based on. 4. So the scores can be assumed to be stable over time.
Okay, that's all for the group 14. And now, if you want to ask some question, you can write the question in the comment. And if you satisfies, you can like the video, and don't forget to write your name and your your group number. Okay, that's all for me. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.